Yet again, Wendy is currently bound to the clinic and isn't allowed to leave the clinical office. Wendy's child, Kevin Jur, in the end chose to stand up amidst these dubious bits of hearsay in regards to his mom's disease and make sense of what is truly happening and why she can't recuperate. Welcome to our channel, Celeb Zone. Additionally, apparently the circumstance is far more detestable than we had expected, people. So how about we look at the points of interest of this story? Consequently, Wendy Williams' medical problem made news last week. Furthermore, she because looked into an emergency clinic was left well enough alone. Wendy Williams' admirers guess that her obscure group truly constrained her to work for cash. While some declared that Wendy was clandestinely getting therapy, her hospitalization's precise nature has never been disclosed. And as her representative guaranteed tales that the television diva was discouraged were exaggerated, he additionally referenced that Wendy had previously been let out of the medical clinic a couple of days earlier. I can affirm that Wendy Williams isn't in that frame of mind, in spite of what Page 6 restrictive meeting with the previous Wendy Williams show has marketing specialist guarantee. Also, I can affirm that she isn't in that frame of mind inverse to what was expressed. This isn't whenever this man first has deluded the public. He is by all accounts spreading a greater number of misrepresentations about Wendy than the sensationalist newspapers, like that episode of Wendy's web recording that will without further ado be delivered. Up to this point, none of his cases have been checked or demonstrated to be precise. Also, Kevin Jur, Wendy's child, seems, by all accounts, to be over the games Wendy's staff is altering her well-being in mind. He settled on the choice to turn out to safeguard his mom from these hoodlums, as the son, as of late detailed young man, hasn't seen his mom since she left therapy about a year prior. As per one insider, Kevin Jur didn't realize that his mom was shooting another reality program about her life until of late. He had been under a conviction that she was improving and refocusing with her balance up and down the individual. Asserted Kevin and his mom are not in contact. When Wendy visited Florida in April, she didn't get to see small Kevin. Little Kev, it turned out, didn't actually consider that his mom required saving again. Rather, he was in the middle of approaching his day-to-day business, trusting that Wendy's inconveniences and sufferings had passed. Wendy wasn't all calling him either, so little Kev didn't know about the earnestness of the circumstance until an insider uncovered it, saying he's doing all around well, attempting to keep on track and continuing on with his personal business. He has gotten back to school in the event that he hadn't gone home for the year to really focus on her. He would have proactively graduated. And since Kevin has found how his mom's group had swindled her and constrained her to get back to work, at last bringing about her hospitalization, his reality has been turned over again. Wendy's staff obviously even attempted to get Kevin Jur far from his mom, since they knew about how he would respond to them exploiting her and placing the malevolent television diva at the center of attention. They appeared to have a ton of influence over Wendy, since they had the option to remove all correspondence with her and her main youngster. As per the source, one of her creation colleagues unintentionally called Kevin's legal counselor, which prompted Kevin in learning reality. As per the source, she didn't actually call him to tell him she was coming anyway. Kevin's legal advisor was first made mindful of her recording when an individual from the creation group called him to examine the undertaking. Little Kev, who accepted his mom could at absolutely no point in the future be at the center of attention, was very upset to know about the narrative and reality program. And since his eyes have opened, he is disturbed that set of experiences will before long be rehashed after the diva needed to suddenly pull out from the talking commitment and relinquish the $25,000 she was expected for her location. Wendy was 2 times brought to the medical clinic the occasion as revealed by the media, and she was simply not beneficial enough to perform. Evidently, when Kevin Jur found out about all that had happened, he mentioned that his mom's stay in the medical clinic, however long, was fundamental for her to completely mend. And it's essentially his method for keeping his evil mother from being around her group. Wendy doesn't seem by all accounts, to be ready to talk plainly substantially less conveyed the whole discourse before an enormous crowd, yet her group wasn't in any event. Taking into account how well she could perform when Wendy's presentation abilities have, as per one source, been best case scenario, patchy one day she can assemble a sentence the following not such a lot of well, apparently youthful Kev might seek after his mom's frightful group, who were without a doubt utilizing her, and attempting to get however much cash as could reasonably be expected by driving the striving diva to partake in whatever number tasks as could be expected. Under the circumstances, we haven't yet seen a solitary delivery, regardless of various reports about the digital broadcast, unscripted TV drama, or other enigmatical endeavors, which makes one wonder of what Wendy's group is truly endeavoring to achieve. It's risky that they're attempting to exhaust Wendy, as one respect a comment, until she feels better. She ought to keep on loosening up. Wendy hasn't been showing up well. An alternate individual added she should invest a ton of energy in the emergency clinic, and assuming that you've been staying aware of Wendy's life throughout the course of recent months, you ought to know about the horrendous condition she was in. Individuals who saw her in New York drinking and going to bars remarked that it was horrible to see the television in such a state in spite of her earnest attempts to seem euphoric and grin. They likewise said that she was scarcely fathoming what was occurring. It appears to be that without her child around, she was effortlessly tempted by some unacceptable individuals. Again, that is the reason she began drinking, even in the wake of going through months in therapy. Other relatives upheld Wendy's side and freely scrutinized Wendy's group for abuse. Yet Kevinger was neglectful of what his mother was going through. And I guess that insufficient consideration is paid to this issue. When Wendy visited her alienated sibling in Florida in April, Tomney came up and talked about Wendy's horrendous circumstance. The whole room was quiet, and notwithstanding being in bad shape, the jumper continued to deliver her unscripted TV drama. Tanya was quick to stand up on Wendy's condition, and he expressed that she wasn't in the right temper. Individuals have been kicking her around for the whole time. She can't reflection since she can't reason it out subsequently. She is getting guidance from others. Apparently the relatives decided to introduce a bound together face to keep Wendy from deteriorating. The previous television character required crisis clinical assistance since her rush timetable and continuous flying, starting with one state, then on to the next, to assemble sufficient video for the show demonstrated depleting for her in the past. Kevinger needed to surrender his own life to be adjacent to his mom, and he needed to go home for the year from school to be close by, as she went through an unpleasant partition from her ex. He currently faults his mom's clinical faculty for her ebb and flow condition and figures she ought to stay under perception until she recaptures mindfulness, starts to act consistently, and starts to grasp what's going on. Working could make his mom's psychological and actual well-being more awful, as per Kevin Tracker, to the place where she could lose her capacity to perceive her relatives. The youthful person asserted that he had last endeavored to contact his mom in July 2022, when he ventured out to New York to respect her birthday. Anyway, sources guarantee that the television diva would not give him access to the level. As it turned out, Wendy was at that point feeling terrible at that point, and apparently she was uninformed that her